right, everybody, the wait is finally over. One of maybe the best office model that's ever been created. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us once again to the regular returning members of the RV Nerd Herd. I hope you feel the wait was worth it. I do, but I guess maybe I'm a biased party. There has been so much buzz around this thing. And initially, we were actually supposed to have this footage for you like a month ago, but they decided to go through and revamp and revise some stuff. And I am glad we waited because they got it right. They got so much right with this. One of the biggest reasons you're ever going to consider this floor plan versus something else is because it has possibly the best front office that maybe the towable RV industry has seen to date. There have been some other pretty good ones out there, but the trick is, like, sometimes they've been hidden in a front living room, or they're just in weird spots. They're in the middle of the camper. They're not quiet. They're not private. This thing right here, this is a mobile home away from home office is the best way I can describe it. You can bring your entire life with you anywhere you go with this thing. When I first saw the floor plan print, I was really worried the front office was just going to be way too small and cramped. I don't know if you watch my videos. I'm a chicken nugget dad bod dude. I'm a decent sized American. It's just right. It's mama bear, baby bear, papa bear, just right. But the thing is, it's not just the space for the desk. They gave it one of those Varia desks, those height adjustable desks, so you can kind of stand it up, set it down a little bit, and there is room to stand up in the front end of this thing. But also, all the drawer space and stuff next to you, they actually gave it office drawers, like hanging file drawers. That's the stuff right there that I don't see other builders do when they make an office. Now, we haven't even talked about the other 90% of this RV, or the fact that they're actually offering a alternative version of this called the 4155, that instead of a front office is actually a front bunk room. And we're going to basically look at the 4155 today, but other than the front room swap, they're the exact same RV. So you're actually getting a science fiction double feature today. I would love to hear what you think about this. Am I just cooked, or is this thing cooking? And I'm going to break my normal order of things. I figure the office in this is probably like the reason you're even considering this or not considering this. So I want to give you just kind of a look around so you get to see how all of it flows. If you're familiar with the Model G family, the living room and kitchen on this is very easy. It's literally the same as the 3250 or 3950 or 3970, but flipped north to south. So instead of the TV facing toward the nose, it faces toward the tail, and then everything else just flips accordingly. So as unceremonious as that is, that's a very fast, accurate description for those who are fairly initiated into this. If you are not, I will come back through this in painfully long detail, I'm sure some of you feel, and describe it. What I mean by that is I'm notorious for talking a lot in my videos, but if I was going to spend this kind of money, and I was serious about it, I'd want to know everything I could before I pulled the trigger on it. So we're going to hit this office first and foremost. We're going to go right past the bathroom. The bedroom up here, quick note, for the most part, it's very similar to the bedrooms that you've seen in your Model G before you got the king bed slide. But where you would normally find your washer dryer prep, that becomes your hallway over here. So you potentially have the exact same closet space that the other Model Gs have. Your laundry area moves into the garage space, and instead what you're picking up is this. And I can't say this enough. When I first saw the concept of this on paper, I would have bet your paycheck, not mine, but yours, notice that this would have been too small. It would have been too tight. It wasn't going to be comfortable. It wasn't going to make sense. The stupidest thing I ever did was doubt him, because this absolutely rocks and is awesome. Let me give you a quick space demo here. So putting my big old blueberry chicken nugget dad butt on display for you. Maybe you don't like it, but this might be what peak male performance looks like. He said to the groans of everybody watching. Anyway, I'm going to turn my back to you, which I don't normally like to do, but it's the only way I know how to give a size reference here. Like, the space and the sizing of this is comfortable. But as you can see, this is up there pretty tall. There's just a little switch over here on the left. This is a little variable height desk space right here. And I think the lowest position on this is perfect. I love this window to look out. If the sun is just absolutely blinding me, I can blot that out. If I want some fresh air and I want to blot the sun out, I can. There's obviously a block out shade up there as well. But this makes sense. The only thing I noticed is you do need to raise the desk just a little bit to be able to open this cabinet over here. But the cabinet space that we have over in this area is one of the things that helps kind of solidify that. To me, I personally think this might be like the best executed office perhaps I've ever been in. So real quick, just because my body was in the way of a little bit of this, you have plenty of power outlets down there. They intentionally built the table around the window, like just tons of thought and intention. You've got just this little switch, and it gives you the number, how high everything is. Now, this one doesn't go up and down super high. So what I will say is I don't know that I would call this a standing desk. When the video began, I want to clarify this because I said there is room to stand in here. There's definitely room to stand in this room. I don't know that that would qualify as a standing desk though. But as long as we're up here, let's open all this up because again, the storage in this was executed very intelligently. So it's, all the same cabinet style and construction that you've seen from all the Brinkleys. It's just a slightly different shape up here. But like even the accent wall they have on the front, it just feels, with that warm wood tone, it just feels like an office. But you have this whole flip top thing right here. I mean, you could put iPads and stuff in this. That is not a nothing chunk of storage. You could store a samurai sword in there if you was so inclined. It not only does it have the struts to make it easy, it has double magnet hold downs so it doesn't bounce open in transit, and a wastebasket. Just what office doesn't need a wastebasket, Then this, they doubled up the office drawer storage. So you've got like two of these little drawer organizers, but both of these lower drawers are hanging, legal size, hanging file drawers. Actual office, like file folder storage. That's the kind of stuff the RV industry just never seems to think about. And interestingly enough, they actually offer two versions of this. On paper, it reads as two separate model numbers, but they're literally the same RV with just a different front room. We were looking at the 4150 front office just because I think it was actually Mr. Nate, one of the founders and the Model G product manager, had a new introduction, a new little person added into his family. I think he kind of liked the idea of, if I'm going to have a little child with me, I sort of want them close to me when I'm sleeping. I don't want them all the way across the RV. I don't want them to have to climb up and down stairs to get to me at night if they need Papa, basically. Well, he kind of came up with this. So the 4155 and 4150 are identical. 4150 has a front office. This has the front bunk room. Other than that, they are literally the exact same RV. And just in case someone's curious, yes, you do have heating and cooling up here, just to show you one of the air vents. But the thing is, think of the location of this office. With this door here, this is completely private. Most RV offices, unless we're talking about like a toy hauler conversion, most RV, quote, offices are usually somewhere off the living room, or there's some weird middle bunk room or something like that. If you are occupying the RV with someone and you need to really work and you're like, I need some isolation, I'm on a meeting with the investors, honey, they can be down here. And provided they're not thumping the admittedly awesome sauce stereo in this thing, they can be doing whatever they want to do. You can be up front doing what you want to do. You have quick and easy access to things like a bathroom. You can come and go as you please. there's a half bath back in the garage so that if during the day you don't want to, on your Zoom meeting, you don't want to hear a toilet flush, you can tell them to go use the half bath or whatever. Like, it just makes sense. But if you haven't seen the other Brinkley Model Gs, or if you're kind of curious to see what this one goes about, we get to start peeling this onion apart here. This is a big, wide body, extra tall beauty of a unit. We're talking about heating and cooling. It does have a normal propane furnace system, but along with your triple AC system, you also have these GE profile units have heat pumps in them. This RV has a electric fireplace, holding tank heat pads, triple heat pump air system, plus a propane furnace. It can pump the BTUs is the best way I think I know how to say this. And with a layout like this, right when you walk in the door, or if you're over here in the kitchen doing some prep work, everybody gets to enjoy the entertainment. There is not really a bad seat in this house whatsoever. Now, the chair that I was using up in the office, I stole from over here in the Dinesk. So it does include 2 chairs. I'll give you a demo of a couple of the different orientations of that in just a minute here. First of all, let me continue to kind of spin around a little bit. I like how they included the storage above the slide. You have big windows and the storage because it's so tall. They have room to do all that. The only trick with that is you're going to probably need to stand on the couch to get to any of that. Interestingly, this is like almost the only spot I haven't seen them do like some kind of strutted or hinged. I call them anti-gravity doors. That's one of the very few. The big windows that we're staring directly at, those open for airflow. Window on the side of the slide does not. Just a handy little detail. Now, what's interesting here, there's a lot of these L-shaped party sofas in the RV industry. In this Brinkley, the 2 end chairs, including this one right here, they actually, they're still manual recline, but they do have heat and massage functions. And it is a quad party recliner. Now, obviously, the 2 interior recliners kind of fight with one another. So depending on who's over and who's sitting where, you're going to have to kind of keep that in mind. And I want to also make clear, I'm not trying to represent this as some kind of like, oh, look, you could turn this into a giant hide-a-bed. It's just, I just decided to open all the recliners in a way that I don't normally. And then I looked at it and went, somebody could see that as misleading. And I don't want somebody to put the grandkid on there and roll over and break an arm or a clavicle and get hurt. By the way, did you know why people break their collarbones so easily? Basically, your body is built to allow it to break easily to help protect other things. It's kind of just a weird thing about the human body. We're going to come back to all the kitchen in a second. These are carpetless floor flush opposing slides, by the way. But I want to hit on ye old Dinesk over here real fast. I mean, I don't mean hit on like hey girl, like I just mean to demo this real quick. Some people don't like this. I personally love it. I struggle to, when I ask people, what don't you like about it? The only response I get from some people is, I just don't like it. You know what? You don't have to justify yourself to me. That's fine. I like that it can do anything. I like that it can slide open. Now, the slide open and the slide left and right are 2 separate functions. You don't have to do only one or the other like you've seen demoed on screen. This video is going to be long enough. I'm trying to keep things moving where I can. Where I left that chair over there, there's actually a bracket against that metallic base for the Dinesk, where the theater recliner that sticks out closest to the Dinesk, you can see the armrest of it coming down. This section right here actually dismounts and brackets and stows under the Dinesk in transit. So over here, we have a GE Profile Energy Star rated fridge. I want to stress that, because it actually is more energy efficient as compared to even most RV like 12-volt fridges. But as that statement implies, it is not a 12-volt fridge. It is a 110 residential fridge. It is made for shock rating. It is made to be able to handle RV travel. But it requires a different power source in transit. We're going to talk more about that outside, but this RV has a 3,000 watt sine inverter factory standard. It also has a 200 amp hour lithium battery standard and 740 watts of solar on the roof standard. and a Victron DC to DC charger. If you are not familiar with those, it is a massively more effective, efficient charging system for the power that the truck sends to the RV, putting it into the battery, especially when you start getting lithium batteries in the equation. Something I have done a very poor job of just explaining this to people in a lot of my videos is that, like, certain vehicles, like if you don't add things like a DC to DC charger to the RV, you might accidentally fry your vehicle's alternator, because those lithium batteries like drink extra juice more aggressively. This RV is built from the start so that you don't have to worry about that, and you just get to enjoy more and better charging always. I want these in my house. I'm not joking. I've said that in the previous videos. I love this space under the cabinetry. You know, it hides away invisibly. Not only does it kind of magnet shut in place, they've added these little plastic tabs to make sure even if you really heavy load this, you can't cause these to fall in transit. That's a magnetic bar, by the way, for your, I believe the technical term is knifes. And over here, obviously, whether it's utensils, whether it's a spice rack, I don't know. What'd you put in there? Campbell's soup, baked beans. Do whatever you want. The charge controller here, the fuse box, is in a good location where I don't see that being a problem. Dovetailed drawer construction. The Model G is where that first debuted among the Brinkley series. Initially, the original Model Zs did not have this. And it was so popular and it works so well. It's just a stronger way of joining everything. That they made it standard. You see how those are soft close, those are soft close. So if you got a clumsy oaf like me, you don't tend to make a big racket. Under the sink, that big cavity under the sink, that is dishwasher prepped. You see the power outlet down there in the space. Also, where they had this little interesting vertical toothpick size area, they made it slide open. They added shelves. They made it useful. You see the full GE package and appliance of a suite of appliances, appliance of suites. I am exhausted. I am dehydrated, and I'm probably going to have to make this my last video of the day. What you folks just think this is one video, more than likely. You don't realize that I've recorded about 60 in a week's time, and I'm not done yet. I got one more day of this. I'm just cooked. On the left-hand side there, I really like how they left that open for like baking sheets, because when I first saw this, I call it like the little slide open mini pantry there. When I first saw that, my thought was, oh, that could have been a good spot for baking sheets. Well, yeah, you know what? They thought of that too. Big ol' residential size convection microwave, 3-in-1 air fryer type thing. And those shelves over there are removable, so you can customize everything. And we've seen a lot of awesome storage so far, but we haven't even looked in the island yet. The trick with the island space is it's too close to me to effectively show it on camera, so I have to do something I despise doing. I have to take you over into wacky wide-angle lens mode. I'm going to do my best to move very slow to not make you motion sick, but right here, we have the handy paper towel roller. Like, you see how weird and elastic my arm looks? That's not normal. This thing you can take out. If you have a neighbor that won't leave, you can give them that as a spot to sit. Over here, handy cutting board. You can, I believe you can pop that out. Like, you're going to want to be able to clean it. Yeah, okay, that pops right out. And below that, big old utensil drawer for... this might be sized a little bit better for some larger tongs and things. Like, that's a little bit oversized for some spoons and knives. Might be a little tricky to fit some spatula stuff in there. Down below, though, over here, we've got double drawers down to the floors. Now, these are drawers inside of a door, but they still get the full soft close treatment. And then the double wastebasket, which could be double trash, could be trash and recycling. But then, if we look down in here, we see some stuff in these. Those are for the DO double Gs. Gives you a pair of these. It's a little collapsible, either food or water dish for the four-legged furry friends, a little puppy cat of your life. Now, it magnets against the island base because it is metallic down there, but it's removable. So like if you're like, man, I feel like I'm going to trip over that, or, you know, whatever the case may be, just get it out of the way. Nothing says it has to be there by any means. It's also such a small thing. They've been doing this for a while, but I don't know that I talk about this. It's actually a really useful feature. These big steps, first of all, under the top step could be a little bit of a shoe garage, but they give you almost like a you know, the WeatherTech mats in vehicles. It's kind of like that, but it's, you know, something where you could throw some shoes and slide them in and out more easily if need be. Holy cow, there's so much to cover on these. I cannot believe we are still going on this thing, and I don't know if I'm half done. Oh my gosh. This looks at a glance just like only a mirror on the wall, but if you know Brinkley, you know that is a medicine cabinet. They actually just recess it and build it into the wall a little bit. So it's not so much in your way if you want to like bend over, wash your face, spit out your toothpaste. It's still solid surface. They don't use any flex hoses, crimp to PEX lines. They're running all brass fittings on their plumbing. Like they are multiple levels above where a lot of builders are, and they're multiple levels above what they're required to be by RVIA code. Let's talk shower. It's awesome. It's a big one-piece molded shower. It doesn't have a seat by default, but it is seat prepped. And if you notice, plenty of headroom in here. Absolutely not a problem there whatsoever. We have the bigger XL vent fan up here, factory standard as promised. Those are the only kind of fans you're going to see in a Brinkley, other than people like you and me who are also fans. Very similar to what we saw in the kitchen. This pops open, and just like in the kitchen, I didn't mention this down there, that is all adjustable kind of shelving. You notice how there's also, it's a separate slide out, so it's easy to get to if you want, but there is a dedicated wastebasket space down there. Backing up a little bit, normally the storage wouldn't be right next to you, but you can see plenty of space around that porcelain foot flush stool. They also, of course, have the it magnet locks in place, but your butt napkin roller, it can move around, so you can place it how you want to. But if you noticed, or if you already know what the Model G does, you might notice how that cavity goes further back in there. Well, just like in the kitchen, that is a double depth cabinet space there. But there's also a really interesting thing here a lot of people are not aware of. It's here for service reasons, and a lot of people aren't aware of it because they don't run into this service need. This is an access panel to get to all of your wiring harnesses. This is yet another thing they're not required to do, but they do so that you can stay out of the service centers. I get that this looks like a big scary bundle of wires, but everything is color coded. And anyone who knows anything about wiring on this stuff, wiring harnesses, first of all, are far less likely to fail than just some random dude fishing wires through walls. Secondly, the color coding works. Third, if there is a problem, it's faster and easier to identify and replace exactly what you need, exactly where you need it. This is something that is currently exclusive only to the Model G series. Just to try to do the best I can, as long as we've come this far, let's finish looking at everything. That is a removable, again, adjustable shelf there under the sink. And I opened the one drawer for you, but it's not a magic trick. There's drawers all the way down to the floor here. Now, moving on to the 38th room of the RV. This thing is big enough we've actually beaten RV Nerd rule number 37. Remember, you do have that triple air with heat pump system. I want to be clear, though. What you don't have is one gigantic freaking set of central ducting going through the ceiling of this. This air conditioner only provides air to the office, bedroom, and bathroom. Then you have an air conditioner that provides only to like the living room. Then a third one that only does its area. It's 3 separate mini ducted zones. That is done with great intent. That is done to maximize the efficiency, to minimize the air turbulence and drag. Now, their storage down here is, I think, kind of smart because for the most part, you know, the dresser drawers, you got 4 of those big dresser drawers. That's going to do the trick. You have then some harder to reach storage, but stuff that you don't use all the time. I've heard some folks describing that could be a place they might put their freedom slingers or whatever. Everyone's welcome to do whatever they feel like doing. This little white knobby job, though, that is a motion sensor. So that if you wake up in the middle of the night, or if you're walking to bed in the middle of the night, you can see what you're doing, but it casts an indirect downward light to not blind you. And obviously, we have power outlets right next to you. Now, you might notice the bed sticks out a little bit more than the bed base here. If you want to just hot swap a queen bed in, you can. But this king that they're running is maybe the best mattress I've seen from a factory level in a long time. I don't have Shaquille O'Neal hands, but considering most RV mattresses wouldn't go from my thumb to my forefinger, this is pretty incredible. If you saw the Keystone Walkabout that came out, that crazy weird travel trailer, that brutal looking thing they have, this is the same mattress. Like, they've been doing this up here in these big ones for a while. It's more hypoallergenic. It's comfy, I think, but comfort's very subjective. So kind of take that with a grain of salt, I guess. We've already seen up there, the closet is a closet. I don't know that that's a major conversation point, but I'll go ahead and peek you around up here in the corner. Actually, you know what? Let me slide this door the other way. That'd be a lot easier, wouldn't it? Also, that's the first time I've put this bed down. A lot of times RV beds, if you breathe on them wrong, they go falling. I had to actively, aggressively lean on that thing. It has some strong struts. By the way, over here, now that I slid the doors, let me slide them back the other way so that you can see if you are looking for a place to put in a stick vac or something. There's a power outlet in there that could make a nice little place for charging those. This dresser space right here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 total dresser drawers in here. Again, still all dovetailed. You have 3 kind of smaller ones on top. You have 4 larger ones on the bottom. And then you have this guy. Is there a finger pull? Oh, right there. Look at that. Look at that. They thought of all the things. Oh my gosh. So everything does stuff. It only does every stuff is, I think, the technical way of saying this. Now for road mode, doing all the same mechanical stuff they've done in the previous Brinkleys, and one of the key things there is that they say, as long as you're not stupid about it, if you need to lay in the bed to sleep in transit, you absolutely can. Where that could be handy is in that, remember that 4155 model with the front bunks? If you got to load everybody up, you can essentially still utilize all the sleeping space in this. Now I'm going to slowly pivot you around. So your bed, not only is it accessible, it's functional. Not every fifth wheel bed is functional in transit. Some are only accessible, as silly as that sounds. You have, you're a bath and a half design, depending on what you load in the garage. At least the full bath, if not the bath and a half, are going to be accessible and functional. When you get down here, though, it's just the too many things in too many places, and you're not going to be able to really get to and or use the fridge in transit. Well, hold on. Now I got myself wondering. I don't think it's going to be great, but if I had to, I think I could just reach in here and grab a... Oop, you didn't see that. That didn't go on the internet. You could probably just reach in there and do something responsible, grab a Coors Light for the road. And I know this video's only been 9 hours, guys, but just think, we only have the garage, half bath, and entire exterior to go. I left this thing kind of half blown apart. I left all the furniture where I said, I don't think that's where you want to leave the stools for transit. It's just where I had them. You need to take this one chair off, and remember, it brackets under the dinette for travel. Weaving our way back here. This is one of their smaller garages. This is a total of 11 foot. So this is not made for the monster side-by-side 4-seaters. Brinkley has garages up to 17 feet now. If you were looking for a garage mahal, they offer that. I love their tie-down system. So here's a little bit smaller sample of it. This is here more specifically just for the collapsible half bath, which, surprise, the bath collapses, spoiler alert. But they've got these little rubber gunk blockers in there. The other thing I like about that is I know a lot of people who will use their garages like an office or the kids' living room. What Brinkley's actually finding is that most Model G owners are not using it as a, quote, toy hauler in the traditional sense. They're using them as a sort of like luxury 3 seasons second bedroom. Now, like most toy haulers, they have the kind of Happy Jack bed on top, sofas on bottom lift system. I've got this in the like double mega bed configuration right now. There's the simplest thing they do with this, though, that allows you a function I don't know that the other brands have caught on to yet. Like, if you've seen toy haulers, you've seen this show before. But normally, these bottom benches always move up and down together. You don't have to do that here. They actually give you the ability with it. It's the simplest thing. There's just a couple little lock pins. You put everything all the way back up in the up position. Then you grab these little lock pins right here. Toy haulers, again, have come with these for a long time, but usually they're used only to lock the upper bed up in place. You can put one of these on the front and rear tracks on whichever side, running into stuff, whichever side you prefer. And you can drop just the bench you want to. Why everyone's not doing this when it costs essentially $0 more to do it this way, I don't know. But that's, Brinkley's found a lot of things like that could be better without extra money. They found a lot of things that are better with more money, but some that are better without. Now, for clarity, to keep the bed in the up position, the side that you drop, you need to flip those little brass colored tabs. Otherwise, half the bed's going to want to come down, and that's going to become a bad day. We, of course, have the 3 seasons wall standard back here. This is the updated version. One of the things I like about it is a little better against weather. If it's going to really crazy let loose, you might still want to close the ramp. But it also has a latch at the bottom, not just at the top. And as a result, it just really cinches and locks in place. Oh, this thing right here. This RV, we're going to talk about it later. It has an easy drop tailgate system. This is sort of like if you're locked in the trunk of a murderer's car, you pull this lever to unlatch the trunk to get yourself out. Basically the same thing for your toy hauler ramp door. You don't have to open the ramp that way. You just have the opportunity to do so. And in case you're curious, it's literally me and the teardown crew left here. Everybody else is gone. I stayed after to get you the footage today. So I'm definitely, I would say, burning the midnight oil, but I'm burning the 6 o'clock oil. Which, considering in the RV industry, a lot of the workforce wraps up sometimes by 11 a.m. 6 p.m. is really burning some oil, you know. Now, over here, remember that because the front office, it doesn't have the normal front washer dryer hookups. That's what would be behind that white panel right there. That's why these power outlets are down low. Another set, like multiple separate stereo zones. You have living room, outside, garage. Like you have like 3 or 4 zones that can all be operated totally separately from one another. You also, with the new Firefly control system, which that's a whole other video also in and of itself. You get so many more control options here, but also more diagnostics. If you run into a service issue, if I'm not mistaken, that system can even go, okay, looks like you cycled your slides 32 times. That shouldn't have failed. So let's look into why this is happening. Like, it can tell you more, essentially. Our half bath back here, talking to a couple people that have owned one of these, they're like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Every half bath is kind of a little tricky sometimes, but as far as half baths go, not too bad. It looks like it's on the super duper riser. It's actually not, but it was okay. I mean, for a person my size, it was all right. It's not the biggest, most spacious space. But again, depending on what you want to be able to load, you may want or need to fold that away. Now, I discovered that to fold the half bath away, you have to have at least that the driver's side bench that I naturally had down in the up position. But if you're loading big stuff large enough that you need to fold away the half bath, it's probably going to be out of the way regardless. So I don't really hold that against them. Now, the RV includes a telescopic removable ladder to get to the upper bunk loft area. I know some people that are, again, using this like a second bedroom. Most of the Model G owners, again, they are using this more in a mobile residential kind of standpoint. I don't like to put the words mobile or geez, oh Pete's, residential in the mix with RVs, but that's how some people are using this. That TV brackets, because I believe it can actually flip down for easier viewing. But most people that I've seen with a Model G have converted this into like like a she shed almost. You know, there's especially a smaller garage like this. Typically, people might load kayaks or e-bikes in here. This isn't for that like motocross enthusiast, but nothing says you couldn't, you know. Good Lord, this thing is just such a big beast. All right, so I'm gonna shortcut this portion of it. Towing recommendation, duly done. Moving on. This thing is big, it's heavy. You need a real truck, ladies and gentlemen. The front whole end under this is very different from almost, well, not only the other G's, but almost any other hauler I've seen, because they had the bedroom, bathroom, and office up here. They had a greatly extended upper deck where they could do a lot of things. So naturally, like your docking center, your dump gate valves are all in here. You have a power cord reel, all kind of integrated into the RV. But I like how it's still a twist lock removable power cord, so that like if some kooky meth head decides they want to chop some copper, you know, you can more easily get that replaced. You can just get a new cord and be done. They have 3 of these MORryde slide open cargo trays right here, 2 on this side, 1 on the other, because they don't run a drop frame. They run a straight frame, but they give you the storage of a drop frame, but with more separated spaces. And the reason I think that's more effective, you tend to stack cargo on side by side, not on top of one another. And that is where this ridiculously cavernous cargo area kind of comes into play right here. So again, because they have an extended upper deck, they had more room to do more things, but they also, oop, that's locked down there, dummy, I'm stupid. There's magnet holdbacks, there's latches. You can drop it, lock it, pop it in place, and you can segment off all this. There's actually another set of those over there. You could create 3 separated outside pass-through cavities. It's just craziness. You are, of course, rack and pinion slide on the lower deck. You are that slim rack slide upstairs. That's the way G's have been from the start. We are wide body over here. This is also factory standard with a hitch that most RVs should not ever have even added to them aftermarket. This seems to be a bit of a controversial statement. I would encourage folks to look into a little more of this geometrical stress and engineering of a lot of things. These Gen Y hitches are the truth, guys. It is absolutely a monster, awesome hitch system. And they actually, you can get either a 5th wheel kingpin or gooseneck attachment. Either way, you can get that. But the thing is, the way this works pushes a little more stress into the chassis of the RV. If the chassis is not specifically built to accept that Gen Y hitch, you actually should not put one on your RV. That is a potential factor in the frame flex conversation. So because Brinkley had it built that way from the get, they're avoiding that problem. You know, it's made to accept that stress. It's the same 5500 dual fuel generator here, where it's gas or propane. You can literally flip the fuel source while it's running. It'll just change right over, which I think is cool. You have a 200 watt, 200 amp hour lithium battery factory standard on here. You also see these relays so that like or like fuse breakers, basically, if you pop a fuse on like a landing gear or something, you can reset it right there and not have to go through a major ordeal. Dropping this down, this is where your solar disconnects are located. And frankly, to do this properly is its own separate video. But essentially, they really went all in with Victron on a very solid power package. Along with that generator, You have 740 watts of standard solar up on the roof. You have this Multi-Plus 3000 smart inverter over here on the right. You have a DC to DC charger here so that your lithium batteries are getting proper charge while you're rolling down the road, and you're not accidentally potentially nuking your vehicle's alternator. That's a whole conversation in and of itself. This guy is kind of the thing that makes everything talk to one another, your Servo GX. It's a kind of a networking unit. Again, I have given you the Cliff Notes of Cliff Notes version of that. There's a lot to learn about all that. There's a reason. There's people who do nothing but upfit solar packages and RVs all day, every day. That's a whole thing. But we're still not done talking about this whole monster pass-through cavity down here. Again, we have another one of these. This is probably one of my favorite things right here, though. We have Dad's medicine cabinet. This is where you keep the bottled water and the barley pop, if you know what I mean. And apparently, my mom's Diet Coke is in there. But that is 12 volt, by the way. And you can keep it under lock and key in case you want to keep the kids. Or like if you have a friend that always takes your good drinks and never brings anything to share, you can keep them locked out of it. You've got some three-way switches here for slides, awnings on this side of the RV. They've gone to that new Firefly system. So you have a lot of controls like lighting, outside lighting and awning and stuff right here as well. They're multi-zone Rockford Fosgate system. I wish I ran the kind of audio equipment that could truly demo that for you. It freaking thumps. I don't know how else to say it. It just rocks my socks off. And this down here, if you want to like run stuff in and out, but not leave a baggage door wide open, that's what that's for. Now, up in here on the back side of like the docking center, you see how they're using like an insulated heat duct run kind of stuff. It's just far stronger, far better, far less puncture resistant. And the fact that it's actually clean inside of stuff is Brinkley normal. Their workers will actually, vacuum out little cavities as they go. I've got video proof of that in my factory tours of the Z and G plants. You see that red light over there under the auto leveling switch? That corresponds to this guy right here. What that is doing for us is, let me get this out of the way. Stop. Okay, thank you. If that baggage door is flipped down like that, and you just lower the landing gear for some reason, you might crunch that baggage door. Well, that's a sensor, where if that baggage door is not closed, you ain't moving your landing gear. It's just preventing you from breaking your thing, which I think is smart. Then you got these guys. We're still not done even just talking about the pass-through cavity with these nice little aircraft latches. They're using the space that nobody ever does. All that space between the frame rails. What it reminds me of is in the Model I series, they have this thing where you lift up the bed inside and walk down into a closet. It kind of reminds me of that. It's just there. They're just not wasting it. They're just doing all of the things. You also have a programmable deadbolt entry door lock here. So like if you do have like a side-by-side or a couple dirt bikes or just e-bikes, or you're going kayaking, like it doesn't even have to be something with a combustion engine. What if you're like, man, I don't want to take the chance to lose my keys? Well, you don't have to. You can leave your keys inside. You got a programmable deadbolt right there. These steps, nice little thing too. They're a little tight on this unit. Hold on. Well, this was supposed to be an easy demo. I failed. Yeah, I'm an idiot. There's nothing wrong with the steps. It's operator error. There's a little lock here so these things don't flip up, but you can flip them up to brush the dirt off and not have to worry about anything. While I'm walking right down the fiberglass, I want to mention, I talked about this previously. First of all, if I had hair, I could use the side of this trailer like a mirror to comb my hair. But the paint packages they have available now, they are sharp. So the RV we're mostly looking at previously is the standard look. This is what I think they're just calling it metallic paint. I'm in the shadowy side of the trailer, so it's a little bit hard to see, but let me get closer up here to you. It adds a really sharp silver accent into the equation. Notice how they also color match the window coverings. So the windows are pseudo-invisible when you're out here. And that looks good, but that is a head turner. That they've been rocking little gold accents for a couple years, just little gold lines. That is so dynamic and transformative. If I was going to get something, if money was no object, that's what mine would look like right there. But again, by default, still shiny and pretty. Got a little sticker coming into view over here telling us that's why they ship a loose thing called a key block mount. It's a little accessory mount. If you want to add one, there's a backer in the wall right there to do it. Now, let me get back here behind the rack and pinion slide. This is a 6-point hydraulic auto leveling, of course. This is way too heavy for anything else to work properly. You've got these big Uniroyal H-rated tires. They got them shined up real nice right here. Disc brakes are now standard. Previously on the G's, disc brakes were an optional thing. So disc brakes have become standard, and they are running a really heavy-duty Dexter Easy Flex system on this. But if you really want like the Rolls Royce of handling systems, this is what you want right here. The MORryde independent suspension package. If anyone has ever actually had this on their RV, watching this video, please leave a comment. Tell us your experience, because people spend crazy money to do this upfit on existing RVs, and everyone says the same thing. Once you've had it, there is no going back. But another really good piece of news, disc brakes are now standard even on the independent suspension package. Previously, if you went with the IS, you would lose the option of disc brakes. Now it's just standard disc brakes all the way, all day, every day. This thing only, he says with great facetiousness, has 4 power awnings. I've got the rear 2 open right now, but you only have 4 power awnings, 1 in front, 1 on the slide, 1 on the back, and then 1 off the tail. You have all of the awning space possibly available. But there's a couple little widgets and whiz bangs here that I really like. First of all, this ramp door is very easy to manipulate, because this is, I call it the I think it's actually called that, the MORryde 0G ramp door. It has its own recoil system. It actually, essentially, it's like the hatchback of an SUV is the easiest way I can describe it. That's you already know how this works. It's going to work and feel just like the hatchback of an SUV. And then if that is open. Okay, check this out. They have a built-in extension cord. How far out can I go with this thing? Oh my God, this is the Energizer Bunny extension cord. It's still going. Oh my gosh. I didn't expect this to take this long. Okay, there we go. I was thinking like 15 feet. What is this? 30 some odd feet, something like that? Holy cow. That's like a first down in the National Football League. And thankfully, it is also on a recoil system. So if you pull it a little bit to disengage, it'll start wrapping itself right up. Holy cow, there's a lot to talk about these. Now, over on the other side of the RV, we have our fueling station and air compressor station. Quick note, I went back and measured out that power cord. That was a 45-foot integrated extension cord. Now, like a lot of your haulers, you have dual 30-gallon fuel cells. They do not cross-flow into one another. The left-hand one is exclusive to the generator. The right-hand one is for the fuel dispenser that you're looking at. If you don't have like something with a combustion engine where maybe you want to run separate fuel or whatnot, you can double up the fuel you use for your generator. You can use the handle to dispense back into the other tank to potentially have 60 gallons of generator fuel. And the onboard air compressor right there, one of the things I want to talk about is that is 135 potential PSI. The reason I think that number is really critical, you need something with a good PSI rating to properly inflate the tires on this. And I really like that. If your tire pressure monitors start flashing and warning you, you can stop somewhere. You have time, you have plenty of tires to help make sure you can do so safely, and then you can use the stuff on board to get you back up and running. Or Has anybody ever freaking almost passed out trying to blow up one of the kids' inflatable pool toys? Well, how about we don't have to do that? We just walk over here, go, psh, and you're done. There's also one newer thing that, like, the roof membrane, the roof skin on this has changed. I can climb up there and show you. It's just going to look like a white roof membrane, but it's a new, different material. So first of all, before we even get there, since day one, they've been using a seal and gasket system up top here that theoretically doesn't need a whole lot to allegedly almost any sort of maintenance and upkeep. I still recommend always eyeballing it, but it's a better grade of sealant with an internal gasket system to help keep water out. The roof membrane, though, it is and it isn't fiberglass. It's a fiberglass material woven with polypropylene. So when I say fiberglass roof, what I don't mean is like a diesel pusher hard shell roof, but it's a higher grade of membrane material, better suited to handle tree branch scrapes and impacts and weather and squirrels and birds and every other thing. And it was that gold paint when I first walked up that caught my attention. That they have that metallic, but it's literally Porsche gold. If you get Porsche paint code colors, that's what it is right there. It just oozes high class. It's just so sharp. This was a big video. This was a long video. It was a lot for me to put together. I really hope you folks enjoy this. I genuinely feel it might be the best office model I've seen. And keep in mind, previously, I felt my personal opinion of best office model was also the Brinkley, but it was the Model Z 3515 rear office. But the privacy this one gives you for daytime working, I don't know that you can beat it. I just don't. Now, I will drop you a link in the video description to double check pricing and availability. Well, at least MSRP. Keep in mind, we are not able to publish typically anything but MSRP on these. We don't sell for that. Our local team can get you our actual discounted sale price, but the advertiser guidelines from Brinkley prohibit us from publishing our discounted pricing every day on this. So just so you're clear and you understand what you're looking at when you click through. Anyway, a lot of talking. Thank you for hanging out. If you hung out to the end of this video, do me a favor, leave me a little thumbs up emoji or something in the comment section. I'm just kind of curious to see who made it this far. And until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.